Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. I want to really get into this material today because I think this is a missing piece. I do. We want to have like these incredible, vibrant lives. But you know what we're missing? Tanyala, hello, I'm glad you're here. You know what we're missing? Patience to get there. I know, look, can I just tell you, you don't want to hear about that. You don't want to hear about a saving center. I've written that in too. I think we should buy that just so that we can have it redirect to Saving Dinner. Nobody wants to hear about patience. Nobody wants to know about patience because it's like, yeah, we always hear that. It's the yeah, but stuff all of the time, all of it. But it's one of the most powerful, most challenging traits to develop in our modern world. You want to hear why? We are all conditioned on technology, right? And if our internet has the audacity to take even an extra second longer, we're like, come on, what's wrong with you? Have you noticed that? Hey, Margot, that's what I am. That's why I've done that so many times. It's just like, it's not fast enough. Fast. I want it faster. I want it chop. We get infuriated when we have to wait, as a matter of fact. And don't you think that that possibly spills over into regular life? We want it done. We want our kids trained. We don't have time for this. You know, I was, Mark was getting a little upset with the dog. And I said, you know, he's a puppy. He's been trained. Yes, he's been trained, but we have to keep going over and over it and over it again. You know, accidents happen. Doesn't listen happens. And it's not automatic yet. But this is the time. We're impatient, you know, and that, my friends, is not a virtue. It is an indicator that you better listen to what's going on because we have all of this stuff, we end up getting high strung, hand-wringy, and just like, you know, always on. And it just, it rattles your cage. Hi there, Sue. Lucy's in the house. Jennifer, good to see you. Lily's here. When I think about patience and I think, oh, yeah, I'm patient. Do you notice the impatience to say, yeah, I got this patience thing down? No, it's not true. But we get strung out, we get freaked out, and, you know, we don't have the space around us to allow for what the next thing is because we just want to get there. We're not good at the bridge building. We're not good at seeing from a distance and waiting a few weeks, waiting a month, waiting a year, allowing for the process. Hi, Lizzie. I'm glad you're here too. But that's what happens to us with patience. You know, patience is just one of those things. We just want to give it a whole lot of a look-see. We just want it right now. Chop. Let's get it done. You know, when my kids were little, hurry up. Let's go. Get in the car. Let's go. Boop. Let's do it. Impatient with our kids, impatient with ourselves, impatient with our spouses. You know, just before I came in here to do this, Lincoln needs to go out. Mark, can you take care of it? Mark, where are you? Mark, can you go take care of the dog? Impatient. We just do it. But a wise woman understands that in order to change, we have to get to the place of embracing patience. We have to. There is no other option. We like to think that everything is shortcuttable, hackable, that there's an easier way, that if I just did this, then I can do that. We think that. Hi, Susan and Beverly. But it's not true. It's not true because if we're going to be looking at what it is that we truly want and what it is that has such substance, it has such a way of just absolutely changing our lives and absolutely making a difference, there is some long suffering involved. How about that? You heard that one for a while? I mean, that's straight out of the Bible, y'all. But long suffering is just meaning patience and staying with it and holding on and allowing for the uncomfortableness, allowing for the pain even. You've used this metaphor many times, but it doesn't just, babies don't just pop out of people's vaginas, they don't mostly. Every once in a while you hear somebody who just couldn't even make it down the stairs and they just pop out the baby. Most of us don't. Most of us, it just took a minute or hours or days, hours and suffering and pain and a long time. But at the end of that was a baby. You give birth literally to what you've been anticipating for 9 months. It takes a minute. And it takes a minute to grow it, and then it takes a minute to get it out, doesn't it? So the dictionary says this: the capacity, what patience is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble or suffering without getting angry or upset. Anyone hear that one? Trouble or suffering without getting angry or upset. Have you ever been in a restaurant and you've seen some jackass going off on the waitress? We've been sitting here, chop, chop, come on down. Hold your horses. I'm coming. It's just like this crazy town stuff. Everybody wanting it now. It's an old-fashioned virtue, maybe. We don't talk about patience much, do we? We look, everything is all about the hack and the shortcut and the this and the that. Patience, long suffering, all of that. Oh boy, those are ancient terms. That's not sexy and fun and slick, but it's the truth. If you have something that you want at the end of your little rainbow, you've got to develop it. It doesn't happen naturally. Really, it doesn't. So here it is. Fact is that impatience is a definite sign of our immaturity. Isn't it? Our kids are immature and impatient. And then we give them a whole talking to about being impatient and waiting for things. And then we get impatient with them for being impatient. How do you like that? Come on. Isn't that ludicrous? But it's true. We see it in others, but we do not see it in ourselves. We think we've got it, but it's not true. So, children just can't tolerate delay. They need to have, nurses develop a lot of patience. Nurses also have a lot of patience. Get it? Sorry, I had to do it, Jeanette. I had to do it. Sarah says, imagine a TikTok video titled Secret Weight Loss Hacks that was nothing but a time-lapse video of us doing hot milk day in and day. Well, I dare you to do it. I'll come watch it. I'll be a fan. But we have to look at the facts, because the facts are the facts. And that is that the good stuff takes time, doesn't it? It takes time. And most folks don't get to the good stuff because they're not willing to go with it. This is why we have the Hot Melt 30, by the way. The Hot Melt 30 is to really put patience out there and to do it. And we've got several people who are really holding the line and keep on it. Tanya, for instance, like day 103, she just keeps going. And she's got something to show for it. She's lost over 100 pounds. Not just in that 100, just not in that 100 days. She started a lot earlier than that, but you hear what I'm saying. Patience. And if we don't stay the course, there's a whole lot of dings that go with it, right? There's a whole lot of, ooh, that hurt. Kind of like impatient, not willing to go through it. It means you're just you can't persist. Think about it all of that way. What does it say when you can't hold the line of being patient? What happens? Well, it tells a lot about who you are, and it talks a little bit about what your character is. In the Bible, everybody knows the 1 Corinthians 13 passage. And what is the very first 3 words? Love is patient. The first thing about love is that it's patient. And I believe with all of my heart that it's love is patient, love is kind, and it goes on and on. Love is patient is the first one, the very first one out. And isn't love patient? Don't we have patience with each other when we love each other? Have you noticed how much of a difference it is when you're kind and loving and willing to wait on a loved one, whether it's a child, a spouse, or even a friend? When we're willing to give them that kind of latitude, that's kind, it's gentle, it's loving, and it's everything. It's the first virtue in that beautiful passage. So, what is this really? Are you ready for another word that nobody likes to talk about? It's self-control, y'all. It is self-control. I mean, self-control. So when we're talking about self-control, it's not popular, but that's exactly what patience is an exercise in self-control. No, we don't want to talk about that. We want to just have freedom to do anything we want. Not true. We can't. We have to have patience when we're on the highway. And let me tell you, where we live, you got to have patience going down those mountain roads. When you've got an elderly person in front of you going 30 when it should be 50 miles, you got to have patience, get off their bumper and just allow. Mark has a tendency to get a little bit worked up, and I just say, it's not going to change anything. So let's just back off from their bumper, because I right now I can count the moles on the back of their head. Let's just back off and just have a conversation, put music on, sing, whatever. But having patience allows you to process and to have progress. The two go hand in hand. And so when we allow for that, when we are allowing for patience, we're allowing for the process. When we're allowing for patience and the process, we're allowing for the progress too. You see how that all works? They're one after the other. Wise women know this. Wise women use this tactic because it isn't a tactic or a hack or anything really, if you really want to know. It's a virtue. And this is the wise woman's heart, to be ever loving and ever kind. This is what we do. And patience also gives us an opportunity to pause. We talked a little bit about this on Saturday. Our brain is very complex, and it's good to know and understand our brains so we can be in control of them. And the brain has a primitive monkey brain. It's just like, this is the thing that keeps you breathing, and it keeps you mating so that we have children. It's the thing that keeps your heart beating. And it's also a little bit primitive because it's connected to the amygdala, and the amygdala is like, no risk, no risk. I don't want any risk. But the brain, when we allow for the process, when we pause, and we're all back here in the emotion and like, oh, the risk and oh, the this. When we pause, then we process, and it moves its way to the front of the brain, which is the prefrontal cortex. This is where all the magic happens, because this is where our wisdom is stored, by the way. You can feel it when you're thinking wisely. You can feel it because it's in here. There's many layers. And you're thinking through, not just going knee jerk. You are thinking through. And it gives us exactly what Carol said. Patience makes room for growth. Exactly. And patience makes room in your head to process and to be wise in a response, or to know that it's time to pause and just not say anything and allow for the process. So we get feelings that are out of control. We get emotions that are out of control. We get thoughts and words out of control. And I know this from personal experience. I've gotten so much better over the years, but boy, oh boy, I surely haven't mastered this one. Take your foot out of your mouth, Leanne, right? Being out of control is hard. It's like it's like taking anybody around when you have the cartridge, remember the little cassette players? You pull the tape out. It's like having to go get a pencil and pull it all back in. And it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute. And sometimes it doesn't even work. But it's trying to pull it all back in because, when we're impatient, we oftentimes aren't listening either. We're there to interject our next thoughts. We're not listening to what the other person has to say. We don't have space for that. We're not allowing for that. We're so impatient. We want to get our words in, make our point, be seen, be heard, and we diminish the other person along the way when we do that. That's the hard truth of all of that. So I just want to put it out there that patience really does serve us well. When we understand what it is and when we make a decision that we are going to be patient women, because that's what wise women do. So I've got, I don't know how many things I have, 9. I didn't even quite get to 10. Couldn't think of a 10th. Maybe you can come up with a 10th. But I wrote some things down, things that have helped me and are helping me, because I'm certainly not there, to be a little bit more loving, because patience is absolutely loving. Number 1 is focus. If our focus is on the goal of the thing that we want, or the thing that we're trying to do, or the thing that we're trying to build, it's going to allow for patience to present itself. One of the goals that I have in my this is my Take Back Your Life journal, by the way. Yeah, this is the one. And in it, I have that I want to have more connection in my relationships, because we build 3 goals, we turn them into I am statements, and we write them every day. It's a really very big needle moving thing to do this, because it helps us to see and actually implement every day, because that's the key right there, is to do something every day. And I've noticed it's taken a whole different, it's changed the dynamic of all of my relationships, with my children, with my Mark, with my team, I hope, guys, please tell me. But patience is something that we develop relationships with, because it allows for them being them and us being us, and connecting on that level. Last night when Caroline and Sam were here, I just listened to them, grateful to hear the things that they had to say, and wanting to maybe interject something, but just staying back and listening to parts of their dreams, what it is that they wanted, and all of that. I mean, it's just, that's what we do. Because I have a motor mouth. I can just like, blah, 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 blah. So, as you know. But patience in a relationship makes everything change. And when you're trying to get patience to serve you in your life, you have to start with the focus. What are you focused on first and foremost? Is it a relationship building thing? Is it a goal that you have in mind? But the focus shifts, and that's how we develop some patience. It's massively important. Number 2, you know what it does? It does this, y'all. We don't quit, because we got grit, don't we, girlfriends? We have grit. And that helps us. That puts grit in our veins. That's what we're about. We hold fast to it. It doesn't mean it shortens the path. We still have to have patience, but we choose grit over quit. We choose patience over wanting it done right away. And if you think about it, really, the way we do these things, the way we go about doing things, I think a little bit of it is a little entitled, don't you? Because we want it now. Why can't we have it now? Technology, with internet, we're entitled to have fast internet, aren't we? I'm paying for this. That's me. Why can't they do it now? Get it done. Get it. And I'm very guilty of that. Very guilty of that. But grit in our veins means we're going to stay the course, period. We're going to stay the course. There's going to be times we hate it. We don't want to do it, but we're going to stay the course, because that's how we are. That's how we're wired. Number 3, we have better choices. Patience means better choices. Patience means better choices. Say it again. Patience means better choices, because we're patient enough to wait for the good stuff. Aren't we? I am starting to be better all the time. I get it. I get it on all of this stuff. This is critical. This is important. This is what we need in order to get the thing that we want. We're going to wait for it. Caroline said this to me the other day, and we're built completely. I was like, this is cute. Look at this. It's on Marketplace. You should get it. And it was a darling little sectional. She wanted a little sectional for her living room. I said, the price is right. I can pick it up. You can pay me back. Blah, blah, blah. Mark's got the glass. We can go do it right now, today. And she said, you know what, Mom? I think there's a better choice out there. And I'm going to wait until we're all moved in. And then I'm going to start working through it. And me, I'm just like, get it done. But Caroline's like, nope. Better goals, better choices. Number 4 is give opportunity to develop new skills. Hello. Patsy, you should have been here yesterday. We talked about skills and how skill building and how it leads to other opportunities. And I talked about you and your developing your business on making the little patterns for cross stitch. I mean, how impressive that was. It gave you an opportunity, and it was patience that got you there. Patience in what you can do. And I was also talking, of course, about the darling little I am an athlete cross stitch thing that you made me. That was patience. I mean, she couldn't just go, oh, this is just too hard and just give up. No, patience is just talk about patience. You had a tiny little holes with a tiny little needle going in and out. That's patience. Crocheting, patience, all of that stuff, patience, because there's an end game. There's something that you want out of it, right? That's just how it is. It gives you opportunities to develop new skills, whether it's a sport, whether it's a craft, whether it's building something, cooking. We have to learn these things. And patience is absolutely foundational. Number 5, you feel better about yourself mentally. Have you noticed that? You see yourself giving yourself a break and allowing for the progress and process, because they go hand in hand. It's pretty phenomenal. Take a notice next time you're doing that, and just notice how much better you feel. Not so freaked out and high strung, but just like, it's going along. I'd sure like to see it go a little faster, but you know what? I'm going along here. Good enough. Number 6, physically as well. Physically as well. There is some interesting research that shows mentally and physically, when you are patient with yourself, they're linked. They're linked. You will feel better physically, emotionally, and mentally. You'll feel better because you're being patient and kind to yourself. That is the ultimate expression, I think, of self-care, isn't it? Or that's part of it anyway, big time. Number 7 is that you're kinder and gentler. Gosh, don't we need a little bit about that? And I say that if you are kinder and gentler with yourself, then you're being patient with yourself. And if you are patient with yourself and kinder and gentler as well, that's just going to spill out to how you are with others as well. We don't go up to a baby at 11 months old and say, walk, damn it, do it the way I say. We just allow for the getting up, the falling down, and being there to fix the boo-boos and what have you. We allow patient, kind, gently, helping our babies along the way. That's what we do. And if we do it for each other and for ourselves, watch what happens. Sarah says, in rock climbing, you lock in the climbing ropes when you need to catch your breath. You patiently wait and recover, but you also don't hold the line so that you also hold the line so you don't backslide. I love that. I mean, I could do a lot with that right there. But yeah, you hold the line. I think, but holding the line is part of the patience too. We have to. And I don't know about you, and this is how a whoosh happens in weight loss. You can just go along and along and nothing's happening. I remember this one very distinctly when it's 70 pounds. And I remember looking at the scale and just saying, oh, I don't care because I'm happy with where I am right now. I'm not even going to worry about it. And it's just every day got on the scale naked, oh, well, haven't lost a pound. And a whole week would go by. 10 days would go by. Then all of a sudden I get on the scale and whoosh, 6 pounds gone, 5 pounds gone, 4 gone. Didn't come back either. Stayed the course. Patience with myself. Not obsessing about that. My focus was on my goal, not the scale. My focus was on my goal of how I wanted to feel first. And then the rest just happened. Number 8 is peace in the process equals progress and peace as well. It's absolutely balanced, because our process and our progress are both going to come hand in hand, and they both have this wonderful little circle around it that says peace, peace. Because when we can do this, then we are exercising our patience in a tangible way. We are. And we're also setting an example for our children. We want our children to see this because they need to develop their patience too. It's one of the last things to happen in the maturity spectrum, really. Patience takes a lot of maturity, and we need to develop this ourselves. And number 9 is, I believe this with all my heart. When you're a patient, you become a better friend, a better body clutter buddy, a better listener, because patience demands that. You can't just say to somebody who's suffering, can you hold that? Come on, get it out. What's wrong with you? I don't have time for this. I got someplace to go. Can you imagine saying that to somebody who's grieving, who just lost their dog, or somebody who's going through all of this stuff and they're just like, on with it? I had one former friend like that. We're still acquaintances, and I hear from her from time to time. We're friends for about 10 years, and it's just, that's kind of how it was. There wasn't that level of intimacy where there was patience in the process. Friendships demand that kind of kindness. And I love her to death. I do. But, I also recognize that I need somebody who's going to be kind and gentle with me, because I want to be kind and gentle with her. Jen, when I was saying that, I was thinking immediately about you and Lizzie, how kind and sweet and beautiful of a friendship you've been. Really. Patience is everything. It really is a foundational thing, and we overlook it because it is connected to self-control. And I hate the word willpower, but I don't hate the word self-control, because we need it. Boy, do we need it. Have you noticed in this country, we need it. We need some love. We need some ways of stop one-upping one another, and we need ways of not always trying to be right and be the expert of everything. We're not. We need a little humility is what we need. And patience is humbleness. It is. And it brings us to the place of love. It brings us to the place of care. And it brings us to the place of constructing and building beautiful relationships with everyone who's in our lives. We get to do that. Isn't that a marvelous opportunity? I sure hope that helped and that landed a little bit, because listen, you're a wise woman. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. I have to tell you, I really appreciate the fact that you show up. I hope that helped. Peace be with you. I appreciate you so much. See you later. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.